Virgil van Dijk is going to have a poor season, and you can clearly see that in some ways he's getting older, his timing's a little bit off. For the equalising goal, if you look at his positional play on the equalising goal, he's trying to play offside when all of his teammates around him are 2-3 yards beneath him.
And here's the tweet: Crystal Palace, the 2025 Community Shield winners. Let's pick the bones out of it for Liverpool, though. They were very good in the first half, lots of creativity, brilliant from the new signings. But they fell apart in the second. They just kept letting Palace back into it.
Yeah, listen, we got to compliment the way they started this game. Florian Wirtz involved with Ekadiki for the opening goal, and I thought the goal was just exquisite, the way he finished it. I thought the link-up play, Florian Wirtz's pass in behind was excellent. So you could clearly see the chemistry was there, and I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like playing with a player like Florian Wirtz, with the way he creatively visions passes better than most players ever would, and some players would ever dream about. But Liverpool in the second half were totally different. They just couldn't really turn it on. They didn't have enough possession. I thought they would have more. They didn't create enough chances. They allowed more in the second period. They allowed Crystal Palace to somewhat believe. Now, there was a small window in that second half where Liverpool were pushing for the goal. They had their opportunities. You saw the one skied over the top of the crossbar for Ekadiki. A little bit of frustration for Arne Slot on the sidelines, forced to make some changes. And then the chemistry that we talked about that was so good in the opening stages of the game deserted them. And defensively, that's where I think is the vulnerability from this Liverpool Football Club. And then eventually they were found out. Palace's mentality that you talked about was so strong, you could see a goal was coming from a mile away. So for me, Arne Slot's got to learn from these games. This is not just a friendly cup competition. This is a big game for Liverpool to try and figure it out with 4 new players in the lineup. And defensively, I think they let themselves down.
You mentioned that there as well, because a lot of the narrative over the last few weeks with the Isak issue and is he going to go to Liverpool has been focused on an attacking player, a striker. But you saw the deficiencies in Virgil van Dijk, wondering whether or not we're coming towards the end of his time. As you know, he's still going to be a great player, but right at the elite level. We saw Mark Guehi there in that last shot holding on to the Community Shield. He's been linked with Liverpool. Do you think they've played that game and thought, well, we need to get on the phone to the agent on Monday?
They went on the phone to someone's agent on Monday. I can only imagine after that type of a performance. I'm going to throw it out right now. And I don't care what anyone says to me about this one, even my own production that's talking to me right now. Be careful what you say. Virgil van Dijk is going to have a poor season. And you can clearly see that in some ways, he's getting older, his timing's a little bit off. For the equalising goal, if you look at his positional play on the equalising goal, he's trying to play offside when all of his teammates around him are 2-3 yards beneath him. Lack of communication, lack of organisational skills, and what's Virgil's most important part? His leadership quality, the way he communicates with his players. You've got to make sure everyone's on the same wavelength. If you don't have that, you're absolutely screwed, and they were in the second half. I just thought Virgil looked vulnerable. And then the challenge in the first, for me, it's just, you have the lead in a game like this. Why are you handing it back? To me, it was Virgil van Dijk giving away the penalty kick, Virgil van Dijk out of position for the equalising goal, and I think that's a vulnerability that Liverpool are going to have to deal with. One more point I'm going to throw out there. Jeremy Frimpong's not a right-back. I don't care what anyone says. I know he's got great experience, but he's not a right-back. He'll do something going forward, but defensively, nowhere near quality.
Because he went with the 2 new signings, Kerkez at left-back, Frimpong at right-back. You've got Connor Bradley, who he's been given the new squad number for this season. You think he'd play a bit more of a role, probably feeling like he should be in the starting lineup. Do you think Slot's watched that and thought, we're a bit vulnerable defensively if we play those 2 really attacking fullbacks?
Well, he talked about the fact that they didn't have depth, this is before the game, and that Andrew Robertson could play centre-back if they needed. And that, to me, tells me that he's slightly concerned if he's bringing up Andrew Robertson playing a centre-back position for you. Slot's got work to do. There's no doubt about it. They've been absolutely brilliant offensively, and they will be, I don't care what anyone says, up there with the highest goal scorers in the Premier League next season. And if that leads them to the title, fair enough. But defensively, that's where you can lose the title as far as I'm concerned. So Slot's got a bit of work to do to try and get it right. And it might be bringing in another player. I mean, Guehi obviously picked up an injury in that game, so I don't know exactly where his position stands for a transfer. But yeah, Liverpool need a bit of help defensively, maybe a bit of experience. I would also like to see a bit of speed along that Liverpool back line. Fullbacks are okay going forward, but nowadays you have to be very careful in the Premier League because fullbacks also have to remember to defend as well to help out ageing centre-backs like Virgil van Dijk.
We saw Oliver Glasner, the Palace boss, jumping around on the touchline. Let's hear from him speaking post-match. He was asked about the result of that UEFA appeal, which is going to come through on Monday, and what the future holds for the club.
we will accept what happens. Today's performance we could influence, and I think the players showed it and proved it in an excellent way. That they didn't think about the noise around us, so they were really focused on what they had to do on the pitch, and this is why we could win. Tomorrow we have no influence, and that means players will celebrate tonight, and we will meet tomorrow for lunch and train in the afternoon, and then we will see if we already know the decision, and we will accept it. So we can't influence it. So we don't think about it, because tomorrow afternoon we will schedule the rest of the August. If we stay in the Conference League, we have 5 more games to play. If we play in the Europa League, we have 3 more weeks to train, what would be helpful. But again, no influence, so I don't think about it.
Palace, as you know, Ian, a traditional, historic club in English football there in South London, but never really been known for winning that many trophies. But what a few months it's been. Obviously winning the Community Shield at Wembley. They had a great season in the Premier League, 53 points, most in their Premier League history. They won the FA Cup final. Similar story, really, from what we saw against Liverpool today. The underdogs going into it, but managed to get the job done against Pep Guardiola's side and qualified for Europe. And we'll have to wait and see until Monday which competition they'll be playing in. This is one of these teams, and we get it every year, don't we, in the Premier League, the dark horses, the team that always performs well and better than everyone expected. Do you think there's other sides in the Premier League who watch Palace, the way they've played and where they've been playing in the last few months, and be a bit worried about how good they could be?
Yeah, I think there's a real presence about Crystal Palace, especially with Glasner on the sidelines. You know, he's only lost 15 games from his 62 games in charge of Crystal Palace, which is a ridiculous record considering the fact that they're not big spenders. They do have quality in their ranks. They're an unbelievable team chemistry-wise, but he almost lost his job in the early parts of last season.
Yeah, he started terribly, didn't he?
Awful. It was nowhere near good enough. He was unfairly treated by Eintracht Frankfurt, and I felt he was unfairly treated by Wolfsburg before that stint. And now all of a sudden, quality managers figure it out, and in some way Crystal Palace seems to be the right fit for him because of the mix of youth and quality players that they have. I love what they have on the wings with Mitchell and Munoz, outstanding. Eze and Sarr, 2 brilliant players. Mateta, I think last season, after beginning the campaign coming off the back of the Olympics, I think he looked a little bit tired and he was fatigued. Still ended up scoring a barrel load of goals. I think he ended up with like 14 goals, something like that. Quality player, but I still think that now most important job for Oliver Glasner is making sure you keep your players together. If you keep this group together after watching that type of a performance in the FA Cup, watching that type of performance coming back against Liverpool in the Community Shield, I mean, Crystal Palace will be there or thereabouts for finishing in a European place. That's how good the trajectory is going.
That's what I was going to ask, are they good enough to potentially break into it? Obviously, they're going to have a great season by their standards, but to break into the top 7, top 6?
Quality goalkeeper, excellent defensive, centre-back in particular. I thought Richards was brilliant again today, by the way. Throw that out there as an American. But midfield solid, competitive, very aggressive, pace, quality to open and unlock defences. Similar as we've seen from Vorten, who obviously found the great run for the equalising goal from Sarr. I mean, they can score goals. And if Mateta can get 20-plus goals this season, there's every opportunity that Crystal Palace might do some damage, not only in Europe, but also in domestic competition as well. I bagged them to finish 6, you know.